Alrighty, this is episode 3 of the micro goal series. So if you haven't seen episode 1 or 2, I would encourage you to go back and watch that, because then you're just jumping to the end and you're not micro goaling the micro goals. You got to start with the baby steps, go to the next one, then come to this one. Just go under the playlist, look at micro goal series. I think it'll be very helpful for you. Okay, in this one, I want to talk to you about where do those micro goals become macro goals. They become macro goals as you start to build them. Okay, so here's a micro goal, here's a micro goal, here's a micro goal, here's a micro goal. Again, as mentioned before, you got to stop trying to run the race and you got to stop trying to do it fast, right? Little baby steps. And I think somewhere in your head, you have this idea that you're supposed to be further along in your life than you are. Like, I think you're like, oh, but I'm this year's old. Like, I'm 52. Well, there's still areas I'm still working on and growing. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, I'm too old now. You're not too old. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're not too anything. Okay. Maybe too impatient, but you're not too anything. Okay. So one thing to be clear in is to become a macro goal, you're going to have to constantly reanalyze your micro goals. Okay. You're going to have to constantly reanalyze them. So on your micro goal journey, the reason why paper to pen, and it is scientifically by science proven, the pen to pad is the most effective way. Not just putting them in your notes, not just writing it in your, iPad. It's okay, but pen to pad. What I want you to do is you got to start understanding time management. So time management is a big piece of micro goals to get you to your macro goals. That's too many M words happening at one time in my mouth. So I want you to understand that when you are clear with where you are going in your direction, you're going to have to reanalyze it, but you're going to have to start understanding time management. So in the last video, when I said like, okay, let's say from 7 to 9, you're going to research how to start a business and what the business requirements are in your state and what you need to do, right? Well, that's not just going to be that and then you're done. Now, you're going to write all of that down. You're going to be writing it down. Okay, these are the requirements that I need. So you're still in your brain going, ooh, but I got the best idea with this pop sock. Yeah, okay, we're good. We understand. Let's not get too excited. This end product isn't even an idea, more than anything than an idea right now. Okay, but let's say before it became this, let's say it had some other stuff on it. Let's say it had a pocket on it and you were pretty determined that that's how it was going to be. But guess what? It didn't end up that way because there's going to be changes along the way. You can't get so married to the macro goal that when the micro goals take too long that you give up on it. A micro goal turns into the macro goal, but it's not one micro goal. It's every single step. In the pyramids, every single one of let's call them bricks. They're not bricks, but bricks. They matter. And every single one of those are just as important. That top one isn't going to be there unless they do the foundation. And while I wasn't there when they were making the pyramids, I'm pretty sure they didn't just go, oh my God, I have an idea. Hey guys, hey Bob, let's do this pyramid thing. Let's do this like triangle thing. It's cool. Okay, how are we going to do it? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Well, they did have to figure it out. They didn't have paper and pen. They didn't have, okay, let's get an architect. Like they didn't have all that. So what did they do? They put some things together. I'm pretty sure the first one didn't just hit it out the park. I'm sure they were like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Well, let's redo it. So a micro goal for them would have been like, okay, I use this material and this material. I mix them together and this is where I put it. That didn't work. But what did work? This part seemed to stick. So they probably said, hey, Bob, you know what? When we use this kind of mud, this worked. That didn't work. So we can't use that anymore. So let's use this. And now let's think about what else we can use to fuse this together. Okay. So that's still micro goaling. Okay. They might not have known it was micro goaling. It's micro goaling. You're looking, you're stopping, you're seeing that what doesn't work, what does work. You're not upset about it. You're not losing your mind about it. You're not freaking out about it because you gotta fail. You got to make mistakes in order to grow. You will never meet your goals if you're not failing. It's just not going to happen. It's literally not going to happen. then you're just not even doing anything. You're just chilling. So I need you to understand that when you are micro-goaling, you got to know when to stop too. So if you go, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours today, right? You're not going to burn yourself out. There's not an urgency. Long before this was made, nobody even knew it was made. And I know in your brain, you're like, oh my God, but I need to create this for somebody else creates it. Stop doing that. That's the mind of scarcity. Now your mind is going into scarcity. If you go into scarcity, you are going to just blow past all your micro goals. Because now in your mind, you got to hurry up and get there. Because if you don't get there, somebody else is going to get there first. Okay, so let them get there first. Then, hello, have you seen the world? We don't just have Nike. We have Adidas. We have Puma. Okay. We don't just have Pepsi. We have Coke. We have Sprite. We don't just have vanilla ice cream. It's okay. It's all right. Because you're in such a hurry to make this happen that you're going to bypass all of the things. And this is never going to happen because it's going to fail. You have no foundation. So that's why you want to say, okay, for 2 hours, I'm going to do this research. This is my micro goal. You write it down. You stick to your plan like you would a dentist appointment. Don't just, I don't know if I feel like doing it. Then it's not important to you. It's not about how you feel. It's the micro goal. And that's why you don't make it an all day thing. So you don't burn yourself out. You don't hate it. You build it in. And when the 2 hours is done, just because you're on a roll doesn't mean, oh my gosh, I got it. I'm ready. Oh, I don't want to stop. You stop. Because you're doing that thing where you're trying to rush the process. And that's why you got to get specific. But your micro goal will become a macro goal when you add this micro goal and this micro goal and this micro goal and this one. There's no one micro goal that creates that macro goal. Think of the macro goal as this big, giant, let's say sky. And then you have the clouds, you have the rain, you have a couple rainbows over here. Starts here, but with all that, it doesn't even matter. Without all that, it doesn't even matter. So this is why you got to stop trying to rush the process. Take the starting a business away. This is in your own house. Stop just buying the beautiful baskets. Well, you're just going to keep putting all the clutter in a basket. Declutter before you organize. Again, science proven. You just taking all your junk and putting it in a cool little basket isn't really creating any better situation for you. It's just harnessing all your junk. So the first step of that, I know you want to make it pretty. I know you want to paint. I know you want to do those things. But guess what? That's not where you are. You got to have a decluttering method. You got to create your piles. And I'm doing a little decluttering thing for people with ADHD. So it's like, you have to have your piles. I'm giving this away. This is my maybe pile. Yeah, we're not going to get attached to things. If you haven't used it, we're going to get rid of it. This is what we're doing with it, right? Don't get in your head talking about, I'm going to sell it. Yeah. You say you are. You're not. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to donate it. Okay. So you have to understand that the reason that your micro goals seem uncomfortable to you is because it also takes forward steps, backward steps, reanalyzation. So what you do is on your micro goal thing, you say, okay, at the end of the week, I'm going to see what I got accomplished. Great to say what you want to get accomplished. I hear you, but we're not going to get married to that because you're going to say, okay, I'm going to this week for an hour each night from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, whatever time you do it. I'm going to just research what the business rules are. It's not going to take you a week. Let's say a day, 2 days. And what I need. And any little things that break off of that, I'm going to still do within that week. Right? So you're not going from business to, design. Let's design the product. No, let's not design the product. You have a prototype that in your head you've worked up. Maybe you doodled it. That's great. That is 75 steps down the road. So your micro goal will never be a macro goal. And you'll never reach that macro goal if you're married to what that end goal is. Because it's not always a straight line, babe. It is not always a straight line. It is not always a straight line. It's going to be, this was my path. Holy cow. I didn't think this would be my profession. But here we are. And I found that along my own healing journey. So that wasn't my plan. This is where it led me because I was open to receive. So as we wrap up this little 3-part series, I want you to go back and keep this on loop. If you need help with it, holler at your girl, book a session, book sessions, do the 90 days with me, do whatever. Let's get you going. It's not fast. It's not meant to be fast. You're going to go forward. You're going to go backwards. And we love that. And that is the wrap on micro goals.